Hello, everyone. Welcome to What Do You Believe? I'm happy and excited that you guys are with us, and I'm happy that we have an electrical engineer. Martin, how are you?
How are you?
And a PhD in molecular biology. How are you, Dr. Sheree? Dr. Sheree. I have to say, I have to get used to Dr. Sheree now. How are you, Dr. Nagy Eskandar? We're happy that you're here.
Thank you. I'm delighted to be here.
Dr. Nagy Eskandar is a medical doctor, and he's the fellow of the Royal College of Surgeons of UK, and also practiced surgery for 25 years, and he wrote a book about creation. You've been on many shows in Arabic, and now you're here.
Exactly.
And we're talking, let's go back from like the beginning. Now let's start with Adam.
Exactly.
If Adam is the beginning, let's start from Adam then.
Exactly, because Adam is essential for understanding the salvation of Jesus Christ. As we'll see on the screen now, in the bottom part of the screen, it shows us Adam and Eve, and they are disobeying God and eating from the tree. And the tree, by the way, wasn't apple. The Bible doesn't speak about apple tree. And this is not Adam's apple, this is my larynx. So it was a tree of knowing good and evil, and they disobeyed God, and that's why sin entered into the world. In the Christian understanding, we believe that Jesus Christ is the last Adam, and he came and he accepted to have a body like us without sin, because he was born miraculously from the Virgin Mary by the power of the Holy Spirit of God. And when Jesus died on the cross, he died on a tree to pay the penalty of our sin. So if you want really to destroy the gospel, you need to get rid of the first Adam. If you get rid of the first Adam, the last Adam has no purpose and no function at all. Now, the evolution theory starts telling us that we came from ape-like creatures, as we can see on the screen now, and these ape-like creatures walking on four, starting to stand, and the brain starts to increase, because the brain of an ape is about 400 cubic millimeters. The brain of human is about 1,200 to 1,500 cubic millimeters. So in the drawing here, you find that the apes are a small head, and then we come to the intermediates with a bigger head, till you come to the man, Homo sapiens, that's what they call him, as a bigger head as well. And they change, obviously, the knee, the muscles. There is a lot of artistic work in this picture. And as we said, there is no fossil evidence of any of that. Let us see a little DVD explaining we are made on the image of God. That's the biblical understanding of who we are in the human race.
Humans have a unique position in the created order. After God made all the wonders of heaven and earth, the stars, plants, and animals, he then did something very special. He made man in his image. That separates us from the rest of creation. But what does it mean? Biologists look at our outward appearance and classify us with mammals. But there's much more to us than bones and hair. The Bible says God is a spirit, so the image of God must not refer to physical appearance. Compared to animals, it's obvious that we have been endowed with a unique combination of non-physical traits, including language, logic, creativity, and a desire for justice, mercy, and truth. Animals may exhibit a quality like creativity in some small measure, but not in the same way and excellence as man. For example, some animals use simple tools, but we make complex tools that produce other tools. Birds build nests and spiders weave webs, repeating their designs over and over. But we create completely new designs. Yet, it's important to note that the Bible never equates the image of God with any single ability like intelligence, or any combination of abilities like creativity, love, and wisdom. Each one of us is God's image because God said so. No matter how smart or talented we are, no matter our health, skin shade, age, or gender. In fact, the Bible seems to emphasize that the image of God is a status that God himself bestowed on us. The Hebrew word translated image is tselem, the exact same word used for images that ancient kings made to represent themselves throughout their kingdom. It seems that the creator of heaven and earth gave man the distinct honor and responsibility to be his image, showing God's love on earth.
So this little video explains how important we are in God's eye. We are, as human, made on God's image. We are not just developed animals from lower rank to a higher rank, becoming humans. And when Adam named all the animals, he didn't find an equal to him. The equal is Eve, and that's created by God in day 6, according to the Bible. So the question will come, why do we have different skin colors? Why do we have different shape? We have different nose, different ear, different structure of the face. What about our height? What about our structure in general? We have many different structures, as we can see in the face and in the body, as we can see on the screen. But all of that, because of the genetic pool in Adam and Eve, is able to differentiate into all these different colors. Let me just show you another little video, and this will explain the dominion that God gave us authority in this world.
At the completion of creation, God formed man in his image. Male and female he created them, and said, "Let them have dominion over all the earth." Dominion involves more than ruling from a distance. It requires personal involvement. While God cares for his creation with unseen hands, humans who are made in God's image are called upon to care for the creation with hands that can be seen. While God rules and judges his creation with unseen power, humans should subdue the earth in visible ways, openly ruling and judging. God also endowed us with certain attributes: intelligence, creativity, language, so that we could rule well. Adam's first task was to name the animals that God brought to him. The privilege of naming is a serious responsibility, like a parent naming a child. In the Bible, the act of giving names is filled with significance. It's a token of authority and a sign of personal knowledge about the object named, as when God first named the day and night, heaven and earth. For Adam, naming the animals was a first step in taking dominion over them. Humans were responsible to study and understand the world so they could govern wisely. For all of us, the privilege of ruling comes with great responsibility. We will be called upon to give an account to God of how well we have cared for his creation, how well we loved, how well we judged, how well we ruled. In short, we'll be judged for how well we served God as overseers of his creation.
So God made us on his own image, and he gave us dominion. And dominion is not a dictatorial sort of looking after creation. It is a way of taking care of this creation and understand what it is. And that's really the job of the humans. When they discover more and more, they appreciate the God who created all the universe. We don't believe in the God of the gaps when we don't understand something, oh, God had made it. No, God had made this wonderful creation so we can understand it and appreciate who God is. So the increase in knowledge does not displace God. The increase in knowledge allows us to understand how God made all this wonderful world that we live in, despite the fact we know it's a fallen world and there is ugliness as well beside the beauty. Now, let us come to the big question. What color were Adam and Eve? To have all these different shades of color that we have all over the universe, all over the population. We have the artistic impression that Adam and Eve were white, and that's displayed in all the arts in the West. But the Bible doesn't tell us, by the way, what color they were. But from the variability of colors or the shades of colors that we have, we will have to make some assumptions. So let us have some definitions. Nobody is called black and white. White meaning there is no melanin at all, and that's a problem. So the color of the skin is produced by melanocytes, which produce melanin. And there are other factors, obviously, but it depends on the intensity of this melanin to give the shades of different colors. So we have different shades of color. And we have one group of people, not different races. We are different groups of people, not different races. And we are all belonging to the human family. So let us start with the assumption that Adam and Eve will be white. Let us see that on the screen. Let us have a genetic lesson, a very quick one. And again, that's very simplified. It's not the details of genetics. We understand there is more to it, but this is the principle. So if Adam and Eve were white, that means the genetic makeup is AABB small a, small b, small b. And Eve will be small a, small b, small b. So all their offspring will be small a, small b, small b. That's all the way the line will be. And that is really what we call white. Now, imagine is capital A, capital B is the darker color. So if Adam and Eve were dark skin, that means their genetic makeup is capital A, capital A, capital B for Adam, and for Eve, capital A, capital A, capital B, capital B. So if that's the case, their offspring will all be dark colored skin. What we think is that's lacking of genetic variability in these two scenarios of completely white and completely dark. What we expect really is Adam and Eve to be in middle color. And the middle color will be represented genetically by capital A, small a, capital B, small b. And again for Eve, it will be capital A, capital B, small b. This can create the variability that's needed. So the combination, we have half of the genetic material from the father and half genetic material from the mother. So the combination of that can come to capital A, capital A, capital B, and that will be the dark color. We can have capital A, capital B, small b, and that will be a lighter color. We can have on the other side, small a, capital B, small b, slightly darker color. What we call white or very light shade is small a, small b, small b. So we expect Adam and Eve to be a middle color, and from that we can have different colors in the human race.
I know you were saying that we're very, very simplifying right now, we're simplifying the process, but
Yeah.
are we right now ignoring completely the factor of the environment, the factor of like the weather and food and everything that will affect that?
Yeah, we are not considering the food at all, but what we are considering here is people distribution in the world. The people with darker color are suited to live in a place where it is very hot. And that's really good for protection of their skin. But if white people are exposed to the sun as the darker colored people, they will have more problems in their skin. And that can be predisposing to skin cancer if they are not taking care and having the blocking factors to protect their skin. So the natural selection here will help in distribution of people, but this is not rigid as like the animals that we studied before, because dark skin people can live in a lighter environment. What I mean by that, in a place where the sun is not shining all the time. It's not the equator. And the reverse can happen, that lighter colored people can live at the equator, because we can take these precautions to prevent from the diseases that can come as a result of that.
Well, let's take a short break. We'll be right back. Don't go anywhere.
Thank you for tuning in. If you have any questions or comments, or if you'd like a copy of this episode, please call 714-709-4300 or email us at info@alkarmatv.com. You can also visit our website at www.alkarmatv.com. Also, you can write to P.O. Box 3610, Seal Beach, California 90740.
Welcome back to What Do You Believe? Doctor, you're saying that Adam and Eve look more like me, right?
Yeah, Middle Eastern, yeah, a middle sort of color. Yeah. And from that, you have different variability. As we'll see on the screen, lots of genetic variability in Adam and Eve, so they can produce all the different shades of color that we see nowadays in the modern world. And because it all depends on the genetic pool, which can differentiate into different stages of color. So we are only one race. We are only human beings. And that was proven, as I said, with the genetic mapping. And we are all one race. According to the Bible, we are coming from Adam and Eve. We didn't evolve from apes. Let me give you some examples of the variability of color and the different shades of color. And this is Leighton and Caden Richardson, who are born with, they are twins, and they are two different colors. One is lighter shade and one is darker shade, but they are all the same family. We have these other twins, the father and mother are middle color, and we have the two daughters. One of them is darker color, one is lighter color. That's all explainable. There is no problem with that. We have these two twins as well. One is what we call black, but there is nothing called black really. It's darker shade and lighter shade, and they are twins. And all of that in the Daily Mail in London, and we put the dates of these pictures. We have these two twins as well, Alicia and Jasmine Singler. The mother is Natasha Knight, she is Jamaican, and the father is Michael Singler, who is German. And this is the offspring. We can repeat that. These are just different examples to confirm that the shade of color can come by different combinations, and this is in the genetic pool of the parents. So we shouldn't classify people according to their color. We are all one race, and as I said, that's proven by genetics and proven also by the Bible. So what happened after the Tower of Babel? The Lord divided their languages, and they went to different parts of the world, and the genetic concentration of the genetic pool happened, genetic drifts and things like that, concentrated the shape of different people and the color of the skin and the color of the hair and the rest of the makeup of our body. So that's all explainable by the creation model and by the modern genetics that we do understand well. Let me just show you this slide. It sounds very complicated, but it shows the possibilities of a man and woman getting married and the children, the possibility of different combinations. It is 10 to the power 217. That's an enormous number of different combination of genes. Do you know that the number of the particles and the atoms in the universe is estimated to be 10 to the power 80? So compare that to the 10 to the power 2017. That is a massive variability possibility. So to have all these different shapes and different skin colors and things, that's explainable by one pool of genetic pool created in Adam and Eve, and that's why you have this variability. Unfortunately, when the idea of evolution became more common and people start to classify people as a hierarchy, considering the Negroes and others and the original Australians as in the lower scale, and the Caucasians at the top, there are different crimes that happened in the history of mankind. I'd like you to show you this picture of Ota Benga. Ota Benga was from Africa, and they have different tribes, so his teeth were shaved in a different style, like the tribe that he was in. And some people came from the West and said, oh, this is the intermediate between man and apes. So they put him with the apes in a jungle. And then they discovered he's fully human. So they took him out and he went back to his country and he killed himself because he couldn't tolerate life after the experience that he had. So it's very sad that the understanding of humans as grades made that sort of terrible mistake. This is a picture from London Zoo, and at some stage they asked some people to come to stay with the apes to show them as if they are part of this family. So they come in the morning, have a little bit of dress, and they stay with the monkeys to show as if we are only one family. And they started to behave like monkeys to give the impression that we are only one family with the monkeys. And see what the London Zoo spokeswoman, Polly Wells, says. She said, seeing people in a different environment among other animals teaches members of the public that the human is just another primate. That's really sad, to think that we are made in the image of God, we have all this dominion, and then we classify ourselves with the apes and with the monkeys, and they did that. Obviously, thank God, nothing like this is happening nowadays. But that was happening in the early last century.
Are you trying to tell us that if you're thinking about evolution thoughts, that racist thoughts were born from that, or
Yeah.
or evolution thoughts are actually racist?
Yeah, the racist ideas were there before evolution, but they increased by a magnitude when the evolution ideas starts to spread. So I'm not saying evolution is the cause of racism. No, the racism was unfortunately there from long time ago. But because people start to believe in evolution, they said, okay, we are a hierarchy, so there are superior people and inferior people, and they start to do this. But evolution is not the cause of racism, but it increased the idea of racism, yes. Right. Let us see a little advert really about Lucy, which we are going to study in a bit of detail. So let us see this advert. So that little advert was about the exhibit of Lucy in the museum, and they started with some bones in the skull, and then they started by using graphic computer, taking different shapes, giving us the impression Lucy is one of our ancestors, one of the intermediate. But we will discuss that in detail, hopefully in this session. Let me just take you through some of the literature. And on the 14th of March, 1994, we have the Time magazine coming with this picture in the front page saying how man began. Fossil bones from the dawn of humanity are rewriting the story of evolution. And they started to present this man as a partly human and partly ape. The skull size is intermediate. It's not as small as ape and it's not big as human. And they started to make some features of a man. Then on the 23rd of July, 2001, the Time again showed us this picture of our ancestors, how apes became human. And they put this big picture. And in this picture in the front page, you find that the eye, there is a sclera, which is the white part of the eye here. And that's only in humans. The apes don't have this sclera white as we have it. But the artist decided to make it that way to give us the impression these are our forefathers. And then the bone in the middle here in the nose is depressed in the apes. And that's what we can see here. And we can remember that the apes cannot wear glasses. So that reminds us the ape, this bone, the ethmoid bone, is depressed down. So this picture is combining some of the human features and some of the ape features. To go to the National Geographic in August 2002, the first pioneer, and they show this man with a smaller head and an intermediate bone here in the nose, and the sclera and the eye like human, and then the teeth and the mouth giving impression of being an ape. And then Scientific America gives us this picture of a smaller head and the eyes again like human. And then in October 2006, we find the Times mixing a picture of an ape and a human. And it keeps on and on. I'm just showing you how this is literature is influencing our thinking. And there's new faces of the human past, and that's in the Natural History magazine. And it keeps on and on, really, trying to impress on us that we are made or we came from ape as a forefather.
Well, we'll have to continue in another episode. Naguib Mahfouz once wrote, "The life is spent between question and answer, or between a question and the attempt to answer it. The question is the summary of the spiritual life." So here is a question. What do you believe? Thank you for watching.